Hey guys, Colton here from the EV Kingdom, and welcome to the final part of What If Weiss Was a Faunus. And sorry if you hear any noise in the background, my grandma is watching TV and she's having a hard time hearing, so well, just letting you guys know right now. Anyways, I'm finally getting to this, and just so everyone is on board, or yeah, so everything is clear. This is probably going to be a longer video than normal, mostly because I'm getting through the entire series through this. There's not really much else that will change because of Weiss being a Faunus. Mostly because there's not really any significant changes in the story. Yeah, except for a few parts. So if I end up skipping around on a few things or not mentioning something that would have happened in canon, just know I either A, didn't think about that change, or B, I don't think anything of significance would change, so none of that. I won't be going over any of that. So, for example, Team Ranger RWBY, before Blake gets there training with Osmond and in Oscar's body during Volume 5. Volume 5. I'm not going to go over that because nothing changes. Weiss being a Faunus doesn't necessarily change her fighting capabilities. It makes her more agile, yes, and gives her certain advantages, but not too many to actually make her stronger or weaker than her canon self. So yeah, just want to get through that right now. Anyways, in the last part, because it's definitely been a while since I've done this series, I basically went over everything after Volume 2. Weiss's family and everyone in Atlas found out about Weiss's tale. I have to keep mentioning this because I couldn't find a good one that wasn't just looking at her butt. But for the thumbnail and, well, everything you're seeing, if you're not blind, I'm not insulting the blind people, I'm just... Anyways, I went over all those changes, the White Fang, and sending some spies in to figure out whether or not they're just all all talk, no action, or if they're telling the truth about their new mottos. Willow becoming in charge because she finally divorced Jock after all that. Weiss accepting, telling everyone she's a Faunus. Yeah, I don't care what you think. Basically. I actually had this scripted, but now doing it, I'm kind of going off the top of my head. Anyways, Volume 3 ends up happening, and everyone splits, but Weiss tried going with Blake, only for Blake to kiss her and basically knock her out. Before anyone says that's where this trip happens, no. If you've seen Assassination Classroom, you know kissing someone for a long combo can actually cause them to not have any brain function for a few minutes. Not in the bad way, just being too confused to even think. Having said that, that is going to be a factor. Now actually getting to the story, sorry it took me this long. We start in Volume 4. And we're mostly going to be focusing on Weiss's story for this, so this volume's going to go by fast. Weiss is basically in a room thinking about the fall, everything, and especially Blake and his kiss. Yeah. I could have said that better. Yeah, anyways. Willow invites her to the party. They go. Willow isn't there just to flaunt Weiss as a survivor, and more of actually being a considerate mother. Now, in the last part, I did actually go over that the Schnee Dust Company isn't as popular as before. But since a month or so has passed, not really much change happened with that. Now, with a lot more time, I'm passing. I can tell if I was ranking the dust companies in Remnant. We don't know how many there are. We only know about the Chinese Dust Company. I'd say I'd put the Chinese in second place, close to third. But not that far down. And the working condition for the Faunus in the Chinese Dust Company has definitely improved. I will say this. They're getting better pay. Yeah, some of them did leave due to how they were treated before, but they were compensated, and nothing bad really happened to them. And some of the non-Faunus working there eventually need to start accepting them in their own ways, whether it's trying to interact with them on friendly terms or just ignoring them completely, except when they're working together. Either way, progress. Not big progress, but enough. Which also leads me to the White Fang. Because honestly, when I started thinking through this part of the series, I did like this idea. Also, thank you to the commenter who actually commented in the current White Fang leader's name. I did forget that. Thank you. And I might butcher it, but I always had a problem with my S's and C's. So yeah. Either way, Cena has gotten a few messages from her spies, and apparently they have more good news than bad news. So Cena starts reconsidering attacks on the Chinese. He's way more now, and is at least open to negotiations with them. Adam, however, hates that, and he tries overthrowing her sooner. But, as I said in the last part, about half and half. It's about half supporting Weiss and sympathizing with her, and the other half hating her for lying about being a Faunus, or being a Faunus and still letting that happen. And when Adam tries, some of the people there do actually turn against them. Again, half and half. So, Adam, realizing that he's gonna get into a fight and it's better to not let this happen, instead he actually leaves the Fang. And everyone who supports his beliefs join him. So, we're technically creating a new Fang group. I like the name Red Fang because technically that's what's on their flag, so yeah. Anyways, Weiss is at the party. Basically, the same things happen. And some of them do also ridicule her and her family for being Faunus, but because they're still high up on that scaling, and as I said before, they went just to not look bad. And Weiss does get upset, all that happens, and Weiss actually leaves asking her mother if she could, because she wants to see her friends and help them out. Willow, being a actually decent mother, comparing the entire Schnee family, Willow is at least a decent parental figure compared to Weiss's father. And she allows her to go. So no sneaking away, or not having her money on her side, or a supply of dust. So yeah, that's there. And yeah, we actually now skip to the battle in Volume 5, because Weiss would still get captured by the Bronwyn tribe. Gets rescued by Yang. They have that moment still. So yeah, we skip to the battle where it basically goes around the same. And Blake still shows up, which I also should mention. In the Red Fang would still do everything that the White Fang did in canon, but they also still lose in this. And Adam's now left alone. Oh, and the White Fang won't even accept him back. So yeah. Anyways, he's all of that basically goes the same, except for when the battle's over, Weiss and Blake they give each other a more awkward look due to how they left, with Weiss insisting that they talk. Again, Weiss is way more straightforward and more persistent. So yeah, I believe she would make them talk, well, force a talk with her and Blake. Not in the bad way, more of she's insisting. And they get on, they understand more, but the kiss is still an awkward subject for both of them. Volume 6 still happens as in canon, and Blake is still being awkward around Yang due to Yang losing her arm. When the apathy stuff happens, they get to the town, where here we actually get a huge change. Willow, and also, I know the global communications in Tower is down, so they can't globally communicate to the other kingdoms. But you have to think, if Atlas was still able to broadcast TV announcements and radio announcements, each kingdom has to have their own connection throughout their entire land. They just can't globally do it yet. So I have to think they actually got in contact with the Chinese to tell them that Weiss wants to return home, with some extra companions. Willow actually accepting this does let them all travel in the same area. Even the old lady has to, begrudgingly accept, even if she doesn't like it. So yeah, they don't need to plan on stealing a ship. To get to Atlas. Meaning Adam is still there. And eventually I think he would find Cinder and Neo, and the three of them would team up and go to Atlas together. Especially since Adam has no one else with him, and he thinks, if I go with them, I can at least find Blake and get vengeance on the Chinese. So yeah, that's a huge change. Volume 7 basically goes around the same theme as it did before. But this time Blake and Weiss had more moments to talk, chat, and since they're back in Atlas, they get to reminisce. Remember all the fun they used to have together, and growing up as best friends, and later on getting closer again after their hardship. I did think this through, and I personally want this this series chip to be Blake and Weiss. They just have more moments, and Yang never gave Blake the take it easy sometimes speech. Because Weiss was actually there in the same situation, and she insisted that Blake gets rest. So yeah, I believe this would lead to a Blake and Weiss ship. Now, a few more things I want to mention before I continue with the story. One, Jock. In the last part, I believe I mentioned that Jock would attempt to and prove himself away from the Chinese, but that failed, obviously. So when he gets the invitation from, well, mustache guy, him, I don't remember his name, and even if I did, I would still call him mustache guy because I personally don't like him much. And yeah, Jock would just have more reason to accept his deal, in this than he did in canon. The White Fang actually, throughout the time of volumes 5 and 6, did schedule a meeting and basically are on community service. Yes, many of them are definitely rested, or at least would be without the Chinese bailing them, convincing that community service is and no access to military goods. So some of them are just picking up garbage or working for the Chinese. None of them are allowed out of Atlas, or at least everyone of the Fang that went to Atlas. And I think Ilya would be there, working in the Chinese manor, and Weiss, Blake, and Ilya just have fun from time to time. Ilya more or hanging out with Blake than Weiss. Yeah, anyways, sorry if I got quiet there. Either way, Weiss and Blake do eventually hit it off during their... I know what it... montage. During their huntsman montage, and Willow accepts them, but still gives the "don't hurt my daughter" look to Blake. And yeah, that would all still go the same, even though the rest of the volume also goes the same. Adam's there, and he encounters Blake and Yang because they're in the same location, and Weiss because they're in the same location, and at the time, due to the team split up, he was actively looking for them. And okay, thinking about this more, he probably encounters Blake and Yang instead of Blake and Weiss, which is still good for him, and Yang can get some of her confidence back. That fight would basically go the same, except that another member of Team RWBY, a ranger, could be there. But I still think it would end basically the same. Adam had no redemption in arc in this, so yeah. And yeah, that would go completely the same. Volume 8 happens, and, well, Weiss doesn't have to threaten her brother to be led into her own manor. Willow, still being a better parent than Jock, but also understanding, keeps it a secret, but lets her daughter and her friends in. And with the White Fang still being there, they can at least evacuate a few people and take care of some of the ground. They can't do much, but they at least try. And everything else honestly goes the same. As I said before, Weiss isn't any stronger or weaker than she is in canon. Sorry, I kicked something by accident. And if you heard that. And yeah, that's how it ends. Ending at Volume 9 with everyone returning into Remnant. But I will mention that Weiss does not give the whole mature sentence as she did before. Or being in a relationship with someone, she wouldn't think or say that. But she would definitely mention that John feels more mature than he did before. And yeah, that's how it ends. Sorry if it's abrupt. I had a lot more planned for this, or at least better structured. And I just really needed to do this sooner because I haven't been doing these lately due to being distracted by a lot of things. And also, apparently this is around the same time. I'm just gonna go on a little bit longer. Or just to make it a little longer than normal. Well, but I hope you enjoyed if you did. And sorry for it being longer than it should have been. A lot of stuff in real life happened, and I really didn't have much time. I'm sorry for everyone who's been waiting. And hold on. Needed to take a drink. Well, needed to drink something. Yeah. Anyways, hopefully my voice doesn't sound weird during this recording. And I'm gonna do the next voiceover too, so if I sound a little bit more exhausted in that one, well, in the next video, that's probably why. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I will see you all in the next video. But the Weiss What If is done, so in the next poll I do after the RWBY What If, Weiss will be put back in. And because the rotation is done, so yeah. Also, leave a comment for what if you want to see next. Or just anything. I read them. And whenever I can. Yeah. Anyways, I'll see you all next time. Bye.